The future of rice, a more sustainable way to grow it. Hello, and welcome to this episode of 6-Minute English. Today, we are going to talk about something that is a big part of many people's daily lives, food. Specifically, we will talk about rice, one of the most widely eaten foods in the world. We will explore how rice is grown, the challenges farmers face due to climate change, and an innovative new technique that helps them use less water while still producing a good harvest. Along the way, we'll also learn some useful vocabulary that will help you talk about food, farming, and environmental issues in English. So let's get started. The importance of rice. Rice is a staple food for billions of people around the world. A staple food is something that is regularly eaten and forms a major part of a diet. For example, in Britain, bread is a staple, while in many parts of Asia, rice is the main staple. In fact, rice is the principal staple for over half the world's population. That means around 4 billion people rely on rice as their main source of food. Rice is grown all over the world, but it is especially popular in South Asia and Southeast Asia. However, demand for rice is also increasing in Africa, and even in parts of Europe and Latin America. There are many different varieties of rice, meaning there are different types of rice. Some examples include brown rice, long-grained rice, and basmati rice. Despite its popularity, rice farming has a big problem. It requires a lot of water. Rice is a thirsty crop, which means it needs a huge amount of water to grow properly. But how much water does it actually need? Here's a question for you. How many liters of water are needed to grow just 1 kilogram of rice? Is it A, 1,000 to 3,000 liters? B, 3,000 to 5,000 liters? C, 5,000 to 7,000 liters? Think about your answer. And I'll reveal the correct one at the end of the episode. The challenge of climate change. One of the biggest challenges for rice farmers today is climate change. Climate change is causing more droughts and floods, which make it difficult to grow rice. Droughts happen when there is not enough rainfall, and the land becomes too dry for crops to grow. On the other hand, floods happen when there is too much water, which can destroy rice fields. This creates a difficult situation for farmers. Rice needs a lot of water, but too much water can also be harmful. Scientists and researchers have been working hard to find solutions to this problem. One organization leading this effort is the International Rice Research Institute, IRRI, which is based in the Philippines. According to Dr. Yvonne Pinto, the Director General of IRRI, rice is one of the most widely grown commodities in the world. A commodity is a product that can be bought and sold. Since rice is such an important commodity, researchers are working on developing new varieties of rice that can survive in changing environmental conditions. But is there a way to grow rice more efficiently, using less water and producing fewer harmful emissions? The answer might be yes, thanks to an innovative new farming technique. A new technique, alternate wet drying, AWD, one of the most exciting new methods for growing rice is called alternate wet drying, AWD. This technique helps farmers use less water and reduce methane emissions. Traditionally, rice fields, also called paddies, are flooded with water throughout the growing season. However, with AWD, farmers allow the fields to dry out before flooding them again. Instead of keeping the fields constantly full of water, farmers use measuring pipes, placed 15 somewhat underground to monitor the water levels. This way, they can see exactly when the rice needs water and when they can let the soil dry. Normally, growing rice requires 25 cycles of flooding and drying, but with AWD, this number is reduced to 20 cycles. This small change has big benefits. It saves water, which is important in areas facing drought. It reduces methane emissions, which helps fight climate change. It lowers electricity use because farmers pump less water. It increases the rice yield, meaning farmers get more rice from the same amount of land, convincing farmers to try AWD. Of course, introducing a new technique is not always easy. Farmers are often hesitant to change their methods because they worry about losing money. If they try something new and it doesn't work, they might not earn enough to support their families. Jean-Philippe Laborde, the director of a rice company called Tilda, started experimenting with AWD in India. At first, it was difficult to persuade farmers to try it. Many of them had apprehension, which means they felt nervous about taking the risk. However, over time, more and more farmers decided to get on board with the new technique. To get on board means to agree with an idea and start participating in it. In the end, Wanderungsensitoin. Farmers decided to give it a go, to try it out and see if it worked. The results were tangible, meaning real and measurable. The farmers used less water and electricity. Their methane emissions dropped, and they were able to harvest more rice. The answer to the water question. Now, let's go back to the question from earlier. How much water does it take to grow 1 kilogram of rice? The correct answer is B, 3,000 to 5,000 liters. That's a lot of water. It shows why it's so important to find ways to grow rice more efficiently.